A soul-piercing scream tore through the VIP chamber of the Monterey Bay Aquarium, the luminous chandeliers and sparkling lights concealing darkest secrets. Mia Brooks, 28 years old and 7 months pregnant, clutched her swelling abdomen. Her heart shattered into a million pieces like relentless waves pounding against jagged cliffs. A sudden message on her husband's phone, Daniel Carter. The millionaire philanthropist appeared like a searing blade. "Sarah, tonight, it's only you." Sarah, Mia's dearest friend, betrayed the sacred trust between them. Agony raged within Mia. Yet the gentle kick of her unborn daughter was a steadfast lighthouse, guiding her through the storm. Will Mia collapse beneath the weight of betrayal or rise again stronger than before? All right, my dear audience. Get ready to witness a story that will leave you breathless. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and drop a comment below to tell me where you're watching from and what your local time is. It's always so exciting to see people joining us from all around the world. Monterey at night possesses a beauty that is at once poetic and untamed. Waves whisper gently against the shore, as if exchanging secret confidences between the ocean and the moonlit sky. Beneath the soft, silvery glow, otters frolic at the water's surface, composing a vibrant symphony of nature's play. Within that small yet passionately driven Marine Conservation Center, Mia Brooks, eyes wide with earnest resolve, and her chestnut hair gleaming like honey paused before a massive glass tank. She pressed her gentle palm against the cool surface, as though reaching out to an entire world in peril. Bands of coral that once blazed with color now faded toward ashen gray, like masterpieces decaying under the relentless passage of time and harsh elements. Mia turned, her gaze carrying the weight of sorrow yet refusing to bow. Her voice emerged soft but full of purpose. Each of these reef formations used to be home to hundreds of species. When coral dies, we lose the very lifeblood of the ocean. Her tone, warm and resonant, struck a chord in every heart present. Though her expectant belly had grown heavy, she maintained the flame of passion that burned within her, an unwavering warrior for the sea. Behind the cameras, Daniel Carter, her husband, the elegant philanthropist whose smile once shone so confidently, stood in silent support. He often clasped Mia's hand, pride illuminating his eyes as she spoke with fervor about every delicate shell fragment and the intricate patterns of coral. Together, they embodied love and a shared mission to protect our blue planet. Their photographs flooded social media feeds worldwide, igniting hope in the hearts of millions who cherish nature. Yet this evening, something was amiss. Daniel's easy smile had vanished. Instead, he kept glancing at his phone, eyes flickering with anxiety and detachment. Mia noticed his lips pressed into a thin line, fingers tapping the table like the hushed drumbeat of an approaching storm. She eased her hand from his, striving to quell the unease that threatened to spill over. In that instant, Mia silently reasoned, perhaps he's receiving urgent news about our charity's funding or some upheaval on the financial markets. She reclaimed her composure, offering him a gentle smile. Her voice, steady as waves lapping the shore, reassured him. Don't worry, love. Everything is fine. Let's finish this presentation together. Daniel responded with a hesitant nod, but his eyes remained distant, drifting toward the window's dark horizon. A salty breeze wafted through, carrying the ocean's earthy tang and stirring her heart with mingled hope and apprehension. As Mia resumed explaining her revolutionary microbial techniques for coral restoration, she felt the true pressure not from her pregnant frame but from her husband's loaded silence. Every word echoed through that intimate hall like a plea to the world. Awaken, unite, and rescue the delicate lives below the waves. She knew countless families pinned their hopes on her work, and she refused to falter. Yet just as the presentation concluded, Mia heard Daniel's phone chime by her ear. He glanced down, flustered, and murmured, I have to go right now. A furtive glint flashed in his eyes, a jolt of pain to her core. Before she could voice a single question, Daniel turned away, leaving her amid the glow of spotlights and the ripple of applause. Monterey's tranquil night, moments ago serene, now bristled with uneasia, forewarning not of storms at sea, but of the tempest raging within their marriage and in the hearts of two people once united. Under the resplendent glow of crystal chandeliers, the Charity Gala Hall transformed into a magnificent, miniature stage. Each shimmering beam of light danced upon flutes of champagne, weaving an atmosphere both enchanted and opulent. The gentle strains of the string ensemble drifted through the air, mingling with the soft murmur of affluent guests in animated conversation. Mia Brooks, a woman whose passion for the sea burned with indomitable fire, had just concluded her address in a voice rich and resolute. The ocean is the heartbeat of our earth, and every crashing wave echoes the song of hope. As her final words fell, thunderous applause roared like a tempest, dispelling the hush that had preceded. In that suspended moment, Mia stood breathless, overwhelmed by the knowledge that her fervor had reached the hearts of those most powerful. Her gaze swept the room, seeking her partner, the steadfast companion who had stood by her side throughout this crusade. Yet, instead of meeting Daniel Carter's proud smile and warm hand, she caught only his fleeting silhouette in the distance, standing with his back turned, head bowed over his phone's screen. Mia's pulse constricted in her chest. A shadow of unease whispered that something was amiss. The chandelier's light etched his features in stark relief, the sharp lines of his face, the absence of the usual spark. Mia gently released the microphone, adjusted the hem of her figure-hugging evening gown, and took deliberate steps toward him. The surrounding chatter receded into silence, and only the soft rhythm of her heels on the deep red carpet remained. Each measured footfall bridged two worlds: the seemingly unshakable happiness she once knew, and a hidden realm of secrets now unfurling. Reaching him, Mia steadied her eyes to avoid hasty conclusions. Daniel's fingers hovered over his phone's screen as though reluctant to let go. He paused, as if having just read a message that weighed upon him. The screen flickered, revealing text that struck like a dagger. "Sarah, I'll tell her the truth. Tonight, it's all about you." Sarah, a friend bound to Mia for a decade. The first to comfort her when her father passed. The one who had shared long nights of dreams and confidences, now stood named as the betrayer. That name on the notification burned like rusted steel, slicing through a mother's heart. A chill wind seemed to sweep through Mia, like a sudden swell cresting to wash her away. Mia held Daniel's gaze, a thousand unspoken questions swirling in her eyes. Had those moments of unity on the red carpet been nothing but facades for a buried secret? Every fractured memory rose up: the shy smile of their first meeting at a marine exhibit, the countless evenings spent strategizing for the conservation fund. Was the love she believed eternal already fading? Startled, Daniel snapped his phone shut, but it was too late. Mia had read every line, every pregnant pause. Silence enveloped them, pierced only by the gentle clink of champagne glasses at a nearby table. Mia inhaled deeply, summoning her calm to prevent a public spectacle before hundreds of onlookers. She offered a small nod, her voice trembling yet resolute. "Is there something more important than standing by my side right now?" Daniel hesitated, anguish flickering in his eyes. I'll explain later," he murmured, brushing a hand through his hair as if to compose thoughts that refused to form. His voice came out husky. "Please believe me, Mia." Mia pressed her lips together, her heart caught between trust and doubt. A storm of emotions surged within her, but she remained composed. "If you have the truth to tell, tell it to me directly. Don't force me to uncover it on your phone." Daniel bowed his head in silent contrition. The chandelier's glitter reflected off Mia's tears as they traced paths down her cheeks like jewels released from her heart. In that instant, the hall still sparkled, still echoed laughter and music. But for Mia, her world lay fractured. She felt, with unwavering clarity, that the real tempest approached not the ocean's fury, but the one brewing within the home she and Daniel had so carefully built. Beneath the soaring arches and among the meticulously arranged white blooms, Mia made her choice. She would walk away each step gentle, yet unyielding. She abandoned the hollow glamour, leaving a solitary Daniel stranded in an inner downpour of regret. The applause had long since faded. In her mind, only the ocean's whisper remained. Truth always rises to the surface, no matter what it must sacrifice. Mia Brooks seemed to transform into a monument of resilience as she stepped into the VIP room. Yet beneath her composed exterior, every fiber of her being trembled uncontrollably. Even so, not a single tear fell upon her cheek. She had been born to battle raging waves, not to bow beneath the weight of sorrow. People still spoke of her, the woman who once swam through the fiercest currents, braving deadly peril to rescue a tiny sea otter, a symbol of courage amid the vast ocean. And now, confronted with the most brutal storm of her emotions, Mia maintained an unyielding dignity, treating each blow as yet another challenge to conquer. The door clicked shut behind her like a tolling bell. The old world lay in fragments, leaving only two figures bathed in that muted golden light. Sarah, her longtime confidante, adorned in a crimson dress that gleamed like a brazen lipstick stain in the darkness, advanced with a mocking smile curling her lips and her eyes glittering with dark delight. "Mia." Sarah's voice dropped to a tone both soft and scornful. "You're as naive as ever. It's almost unbelievable." Each syllable landed like an icy dagger against the heart of this indomitable woman. Behind Sarah, the silhouette of Daniel, her husband, who had helped build so many dreams by her side, stood with a leather suitcase slung over one shoulder, his face contorted with confusion, his lips trembling as he tried to form an explanation. I can explain," Daniel stammered, his voice catching as it drifted weakly through the thick atmosphere. He reached out, longing to touch Mia's hand, but she quietly stepped aside, not out of cruelty, but because she no longer needed another web of lies. Mia's mind grew calm and still like the abyssal depths of the sea, where all surface noise becomes mere echoes. She recalled that moment facing the relentless current. Her heart had hung perilously between life and death, yet she had not waited for a miracle. She herself was the miracle. When her fingers clutched the panicked otter's flipper, she felt every flutter of its tiny heart pleading for life. That sensation she carried with her through every passing day, a solemn vow to both the ocean and to herself. She would never kneel before injustice. Now, standing before Sarah and Daniel, Mia understood that no hollow apology could bridge this chasm of betrayal. She remembered the long nights they had shared, husband and wife, nurturing the dream of a coral conservation fund, and the times she had waded into the bay fully pregnant to measure water temperatures. All of it had painted a paradise, until the brushstrokes were brutally scraped away by merciless deceit. Mia inhaled softly, her chest tightening as though on the verge of bursting, yet she held her composure with absolute poise. Her heels clicked across the polished wood floor like triumphant war drums echoing through the grand hall. Each deliberate step declared, "I am no weakling to be humiliated or abandoned." Mia lifted her chin, her eyes sharp as a hammer's strike, and delivered her final words into the charged air. "I do not need explanations. The truth stands plain and undeniable." Her voice was icy, and with those words she closed the chapter on a love that had gone cold. Sarah's sneer faltered, the veneer of arrogance cracking into a flicker of anxiety before she quickly masked it with disdain. "How unfortunate for you, Mia." He simply chose another path. Daniel's eyes widened as he battled remorse, yet only a broken "please" escaped his lips, incomplete. Mia refused to look back. Even if she turned, She would see only the epitaph of a love long since dead. The VIP room door clicked shut once more behind her, a stark reminder that there was no return. Mia strode into the corridor, her silhouette sweeping through a sea of gawking onlookers. Her footsteps still resonated, but now they sounded like victory drums, tinged with the bittersweet sting of defeat. She paused beneath the lofty golden chandeliers, gazing upward as though they were indifferent stars. In that silent instant, Mia asked herself, when your entire world collapses, will you rise or will you fall? What will you do when your world falls apart? Comment below. Beneath the glittering crystal chandeliers overhead, the charity gala hall still resonated with the warm melodies of the string ensemble. Yet within Mia Brooks's heart, only the clangor of humiliation remained. She drew in a steadying breath and forced a reassuring smile, determined to fulfill her role as MC. Social mask she had no choice but to don. A faint rose tint graced her cheekbones from carefully applied makeup, but her eyes lingered in shadows of pain. Moments ago, the audience had gazed at her with admiration bordering on reverence. Now, they waited for her every word with hungry anticipation. As Mia's fingertips brushed the microphone, her voice rose soft yet unwavering, transitioning smoothly into the evening's charity auction. When Sarah appeared like a living nightmare, once Mia's dearest friend, now her fiercest adversary, Sarah glided forward in a jet-black gown, a silent exclamation mark declaring danger. Before hundreds of curious eyes, she accidentally caught the hem of Mia's gown in her stiletto, as if to sabotage her composure. In the blink of an eye, a glass of burgundy wine arced through the air, splattering across the surface of Mia's white silk dress like fresh blood on fragile linen. The splash of wine echoed through the hall, immediately followed by a ripple of hushed gasps. Champagne flutes trembled in half-raised hands. Some eyes brimmed with sympathy, others glinted with the promise of scandal. Mia froze, her heart skipping a beat as the deep red liquid seeped across her shoulder and down to her waist, crafting an image both regal and shattered. She felt the fabric grow cold against her skin, as though the entire ocean had frozen upon her flesh. A surge of pride rose in Mia's chest like a swelling tide. She clenched the program's script so tightly that her knuckles whitened, though her fingers slipped on the damp paper. The weight of the event, the brilliance of the lights, and above all the betrayal by the one person she had trusted most, Sarah constricted her lungs, making each breath a labor. Mia shook her head ever so slightly, determined not to let anger or shame spill outward, avoiding an even greater spectacle of chaos. Yet in that instantaneous moment, a sharp contraction stabbed her abdomen. A pang of pain, subtle but unmistakable, made her shudder. She closed her eyes gently, raising her free hand to her 7-month pregnant belly, where a tiny life was soothing her with a tentative kick. "My baby," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion, as if confiding to the entire universe. "I am still here. I am still strong." Amid the audience's clamor and the urgent whispers, only her heart beatened. The rhythm of her child's movement felt real. The heady aroma of spilled wine mingled with neighboring perfumes, making Mia's vision blur. Her legs weakened, as though dissolving beneath her. One by one, onlookers pivoted to watch, uncertain whether they pitied her or awaited her collapse to prolong the gossip. The lights blurred and flickered, like her own frantic pulsarapid. Uneven, panicked, Mia pressed a hand to her forehead, striving to cling to the microphone, but her voice emerged in a hoarse wisp. I'm sorry." Pandemonium erupted. Chairs scraped across the polished floor. Breaths came in ragged gasps, and stifled screams burst forth as Mia swayed and then crumpled, her knees buckling. The scene unfolded like a storm. From the stunned stillness of a once resolute woman to the anguished collapse of flesh and bone. Wealthy patrons surged forward, some fumbling with phones to summon medical help, others simply frozen in shock. Daniel Carter, her husband and former pillar of support, dashed to her side. His tailored suit did nothing to conceal the raw panic etched across his features. Yet when Mia lifted her gaze to his, she detected no solace, only confusion and a distant trace of reproach. In that fleeting intersection of glances, Mia realized this agony was not merely physical. It marked the shattering of trust, of love, of the once beautiful life they had crafted. Amid the crowd's cacophony and the flash of dozens of cameras, Mia felt as small as a grain of sand adrift upon the boundless sea. Still, she clasped both hands to her abdomen, embracing the fierce vitality of the life within. And in that fierce moment, a resolute determination ignited. No matter how fearsome the storm outside, Mia Brooks, the woman who had plunged into rapids to save an otter's life, would not allow herself to be broken. For behind every pang of pain sounded the defiant drumbeat of two hearts, mother and child, united in their stand against darkness. In the pristine white corridor of Monterey Hospital, where the hush of closed doors carries a solemn chill, every footstep echoes like the ticking of fate. Mia Brooks lay with her head cushioned by pillows, her left hand curled tightly around the thin blanket, her eyes half closed under the harsh glare of fluorescent lights. A tall doctor in a crisp white coat approached her bedside, his voice low and steady. "Miss Brooks, your tests reveal severe stress. Unless you rest completely from this moment on, the risk of preterm labor is very high." All other sounds seemed to fade away, leaving only the frantic beating of her heart, and deep within her womb, the tiny life she carried sensed its mother's upheaval. Not long after, the patient room door creaked open, and Mia's eyes fluttered as her mother, Linda, stepped inside. Though age's soft silver framed her hair, her gaze remained as sharp as it had been in San Francisco courtrooms. Her footsteps were urgent, fueled by a mother's refusal to yield to any storm. Grasping her daughter's hand, she spoke in a voice both calm and brimming with warmth. "My dear, I flew down the moment I heard. In my eyes, you are the strongest wave I know. You cannot be brought low by any pressure." Mia looked at her mother and felt an electric surge through her rough-worn fingers, the strength of an entire lifetime of determination. Gently, Linda brushed away a tear from Mia's cheek before sliding onto the edge of the bed. "I know how agonizing this conservation project has been for you," she said, "but you must believe that every effort is never in vain." Mia nodded silently, her lips moving soundlessly. The weight of exhaustion and worry pressed down on her, leaving her speechless. In a fleeting moment of quiet, Mia reached for her phone on the bedside table. Intent on checking work emails, a habit fraught with tension. A new notification flickered on the screen, and her heart lurched. One new message from Sarah. She tapped to open it, skimming lines her eyes could hardly believe. Sarah, her longtime friend, the one who had shared her grief, turned out not only to be an illicit lover but the mastermind behind a scheme to seize the Marine Conservation Fund, worth $20 million. Every figure, every invoice was laid bare. Covert money transfers, shell companies, email threads plotting to manipulate the board. Mia trembled, her palms slipping on the slick screen. But the most devastating blow came from another email from Daniel's account to Sarah's. "I will receive 30% if I stay silent." Those cold, merciless words stabbed her heart like an iron blade. Daniel had betrayed not only her love but the very dream of preservation they had built together. Mia's breaths came rapid and shallow. Linda snatched the phone from her hand, her eyes flashing with shock and anger. She unfurled a packet of printed emails Mia had prepared for the project defense meeting, her voice trembling. "Sarah and Daniel, can you believe this?" Mia remained mute, tears welling unchecked. In her mind, Every cherished memory of diving expeditions and joyous planning sessions of the couple's laughter in their conservation office crumbled to ashes. Wrapping a bony hand around her daughter's shoulder, Linda sought to transfer every ounce of her remaining strength. "My child, I stand with you. We will expose them both, so that the $20 million does not fall into greedy hands, and I will protect your baby until the very last moment." Her mother's eyes bestowed Mia with unwavering faith stronger than any promise. Deep inside, Mia felt the steady thump of her baby's heartbeat, reminding her that this battle was not just for herself but for the tiny life awaiting birth. As the day's final sunlight painted the hospital window in shades of purple, Mia managed a trembling smile through her tears. She bowed her head and whispered to her child, "I will not let anyone extinguish your dreams, my dear. Together we will create something extraordinary." Under the gentle glow of the hospital lights, the expectant mother and the woman who had lived through betrayal turned her back on darkness, facing a new hope, where $20 million and a community's heart awaited the revelation of truth. Mia Brooks was still weary from the tense days spent in the hospital, yet she knew she could not let slip this final chance to protect the Marine Conservation Fund. Though her limbs felt like softened wax, she persisted in contacting the board of directors, laying out the troubling discrepancies in the financial reports and stressing the urgent need to halt all suspicious transactions. However, she soon realized that her solitary effort was insufficient. She needed a genuine ally, someone of unquestionable credibility, influence, and authority, who could help her expose the conspiracy. In that moment of desperation, Linda, her astute and devoted mother, placed her trust in a long-standing connection with the Harper family. She invited Mia to a hushed sitting room within the Harpers' stately Monterey Hills mansion, where a heavy wooden door swung open to reveal a figure standing behind an ornate desk. It was William Harper Daniels, father, a philanthropist of renown, who had devoted his life to supporting charitable causes, yet rarely appeared in the public eye. William had always been regarded as a man of calm reserve, maintaining a measured distance from family affairs. But today, as he listened to Mia recount the chain of betrayal emails plotting to seize $20 million, anger flashed like lightning in his eyes. He stepped forward, placing a trembling hand on his prospective daughter-in-law's shoulder, his voice deep and powerful. "Daniel has sullied the Harper name," he declared, each word resonating like thunder in a clear sky. "You must understand that the honor and mission we have built cannot be allowed to fall into the hands of the wicked." Mia noted every crease on William's forehead, evidence of years spent battling for social justice and navigating the corporate world. The solemnity etched into his expression convinced her she had found a trustworthy partner. Gently, Linda produced a sleek USB drive from her purse and laid it upon the desk. "Mr. Harper, we have gathered evidence from the Swiss bank where Sarah funneled the initial transfer. These records lay bare the entire manipulation scheme, undeniable proof." William lifted the USB, inspecting the fine print on its casing before nodding in confirmation. His lips parted, voice choking with indignation. "Sarah is no stranger to betrayal. She once orchestrated the downfall of another charity in Eastern Europe, rendering hundreds of fishing families jobless and destitute. Through hidden financial maneuvers and veiled deals, she destroyed countless livelihoods that depended on the sea." The revelation struck Mia like a tidal wave, shocking, yet strengthening her resolve. William emphasized, "I have waited for the moment my future daughter-in-law would secure my family's support. Now is the time to reveal the truth together, to safeguard not only the Harper legacy but also ensure that those $20 million truly serve the Ocean-Thea planet's beating heart." Mia felt the warm power coursing through the hand at her shoulder, urging her onward. Every heartbeat of the child in her womb echoed the vow: protect the fund, unmask the culprits, and preserve the lives of coral reefs and fish. She envisioned a future not merely for herself, but for the tiny being growing inside her, a life she would nurture in a world she had fought to restore. In a soft voice, she said, "Thank you, Mr. Harper. We will convene an emergency meeting with the board and the press immediately. I will present all the evidence so that Sarah and Daniel cannot deny it." William offered a steadfast smile, his eyes shining with hope. "Indeed, my dear. The truth wields unstoppable power, however deeply it may be concealed. The Harper family stands with you." In that elegant yet tense atmosphere, Mia felt an inexhaustible surge of energy. Linda stood beside her, gently patting her back, an unspoken promise that, no matter how rocky the path ahead, she would never walk it alone. As the three departed the mansion's drawing room, the USB nestled securely in Mia's hand as proof that justice was on the verge of triumph. Outside, the sky beyond the windows had blossomed into a rosy sunset, signaling a new dawn in the battle against corruption and betrayal. Mia inhaled deeply, sensing the synchronized heartbeats of two lives, mother and child, prospective stepfather, and herself. And she knew that, with William Harper at her side, she had found the most formidable ally to transform the storm of deceit into a cleansing galeone that would sweep away every last trace of darkness. The emergency boardroom lights flashed like the urgent heartbeat of a desperate nature calling for rescue. Mia Brooks entered, slender frame leaning on her cane, her form-fitting maternity gown both stunning and emblematic of the hardship borne by a mother in her final month. Each of her footsteps echoed through the sudden hush, proclaiming that love and duty bow to no adversity. Sarah Montgomery, draped in a blazing red dress as defiant as a flame, stood arms crossed at the head of the table. Her platinum hair curled softly, her crimson lips twisting into a cruel smile. "Mia," she sneered with honeyed malice, "you should stay in the hospital and rest. Know your limits." The room blinked at Sarah's arrogance, unaware that this moment would propel Mia to rise. The boardroom's glare highlighted the weariness etched on Mia's face, yet her eyes still burned with steel resolve. She gripped the edge of the table, inclined her head as votes were called, then straightened and spoke with blade-sharp clarity. "Members of the board, I may be physically fragile, but the truth waits for no one." All eyes turned to her. From her purse, Mia withdrew a brown envelope containing printed emails, bank transaction copies, and a tiny USB drive packed with undeniable evidence. She flicked on the projector. An email thread between Sarah and various Swiss bank accounts, the figure of $20 million dancing on the screen, money destined to restore the coral reefs. Then Mia read aloud each transaction. Transferred to offshore account number 4712, transaction code 8921, the board chair stammered. Miss Brooks, could you clarify?" Mia simply smiled, coolly pressed play, and the room fell silent. From the USB came Sarah's crisp, chilling voice. "This fund will be mine. Daniel is merely a pawn I control. Once everything is settled, I will seize it all, and no one will dare speak out." The boardroom froze as if buried beneath ocean ice. Sarah's jaw dropped, disbelief flooding her features. Her gaze darted over the board members' faces, shifting from confusion to outrage, from disappointment to shock. The chairwoman's eyes, once trusting, now blazed with fury as she struck the gavel of rosewood. "Cease immediately. Escort her out." Her tone was as frigid as the ocean's depths. Two security officers moved swiftly, seizing Sarah by the elbows and dragging her from her seat. Sarah's screams of, "This is a setup! I'm being framed!" dissolved into the undeniable evidence still glowing on the screen. No room for lies. In a shadowed corner, Daniel Carterthman, who once held Mia's hand before camera scoured beneath the harsh light, sweat beading on his brow. Shoulders hunched, head bowed in a black suit, he avoided all eyes. Mia turned to him, her gaze deep but void of hatred, only heartbreak and resolute finality. She knew the time had come to close an old chapter and move on. The gavel rang one last time. This meeting is adjourned. All evidence will be forwarded to the authorities. Members filed out, their footsteps crisp with purpose. Mia stood firm, hand on her cane, breath still quick, yet eyes shining with hope. She had triumphed not just for herself, but for the dream of a revived ocean where the lives of millions awaited the touch of courageous souls like hers. In that final moment, a radiant sunset streamed through the windows, casting rays like promises of a new dawn. Mia smiled and gently caressed her growing belly. "I have done my part, my darling," she whispered. Outside, the storm of deceit had cleared, replaced by the calm sea, a living testament that truth, no matter how deeply submerged, will always rise. The grand hall lights had dimmed to a soft glow from the wall sconces, casting gentle pools of illumination on the polished wood floor, as everyone filed out in thoughtful silence. Mia Brooks stood firm in the center of the exit, her slender frame rooted like a willow in the wind, each step still a stab of pain from the hospital contraction she'd endured, yet her determined gaze did not waver. Suddenly, a faint sound from behind made her turn. There, on the gleaming wood floor, knelt Daniel Carterance, her unwavering support head bowed, hands trembling as they clutched the hem of her gown. Tears streamed down his cheeks, trailing onto his crisp shirt collar. The pale moonlight through the window seemed to illuminate every ounce of remorse in his heart. "Mia, Mia," he choked out, each word wrenching like a knife. "It's all my fault. I knew of Sarah's scheme long ago, but I was afraid. Afraid of losing everything. Your love, my family's reputation, our future." He fought back sobs, shoulders shaking with each ragged breath. "Sarah manipulated me with flattery and promises of great gain, but I was wrong to stay silent. By letting her lead me, I betrayed you. I betrayed our unborn child." Mia inhaled deeply, her heart aching as memories of late nights cradling her belly, imagining their daughter's safe arrival flashed through her mind. Now, the father-to-be knelt before her in regret, begging to salvage a love shattered. Daniel reached out, brushing her cheek gently. His voice quivered. "I relinquish my role as chair of the Conservation Fund. As of tomorrow, every share and decision-making power will belong to you, Mia. You will carry the torch of hope for the ocean we dreamed of saving. As for me, I only ask to remain by you and our child's side, to atone for my sins, to assist you in any way you need." In that moment, Mia met his gaziance brimming with love, now clouded by guilt and hesitation. Their love had withered long ago beneath deceitful emails and silent retreats in the face of financial pressure. She felt no spark of passion, only a mother's compassion. Softly, she withdrew her hand from his, voice calm yet resolute. "Our daughter does not need a coward for a father, one who runs at the first hint of temptation and remains silent while truth is buried." Daniel lowered his head. The handkerchief he drew from his pocket was already soaked. He raised his eyes, beseeching, Can you give me one more chance?" Mia offered a faint smile that fractured like thin ice across her lips. "You may stay, Daniel, but on one condition. You must stand before the public, before the press and the Conservation Board, and publicly apologize for every act of deceit, greed, and betrayal." She paused, each word a sharpened blade. "You must admit your faults, take public responsibility for your actions, so that our daughter may grow up with the example of truth and courage." Daniel looked up, tears still falling but hope flickering in his eyes. He nodded fervently, voice thick with emotion. "I agree. I will hide nothing anymore. So our child will know her father is imperfect, but bold enough to admit his mistakes and make amends." Mia's smile tightened, and she turned toward the meeting room's door. Her steps were steady, though each tap of her heels echoed the tension in her pregnant belly. Behind her, Daniel remained kneeling, the dim light casting him in soft relief, a reminder of the dark past and the uncertain road he must now walk alone. As Mia's hand closed around the door handle, she paused and looked back at him, her gaze free of anger, suffused instead with quiet strength. Prepare yourself. Tomorrow, before the entire board and the press, you will speak the truth. Only then will you truly deserve to be our daughter's father. In that hushed moment, Mia's footsteps resonated down the long corridor, carrying forth the image of a once mighty man now bowed in remorse, yet endowed with a new resolve to redeem himself. At the hallway's end, a single light glimmered like a beacon of hope for a fresh beginning, an unwritten chapter forged by truth, courage, and responsibility. Under the crystalline blue sky of Monterey, the name Mia Brooks had become a living emblem of enduring hope and strength. Her image eyes ablaze with determination, chestnut hair drifting in the sea breeze-graced every form of media, from local news segments to national environmental features. The Monterey Hope campaign she launched attracted $30 million in funding, enough to revive coral reefs once thought irretrievably lost, and to relocate hundreds of fishing families whose livelihoods depended on those reefs. The moment the announcement broke, the hashtag number Monterey Hope exploded across social platforms. Posts flooded in, accompanied by images of resurgent emerald corals, schools of multicolored fish reclaiming their old haunts, and radiant smiles on weathered fishermen setting sail once more under tattered jackets, an echo of the story's humble beginnings. Wild shores reborn by collective aspiration. Women across America, from California's coastal hamlets to remote inland towns, sent messages of gratitude and admiration. Mia has proven that when a woman recognizes her own worth, nothing can stand in her way. Mia's crowning achievement came with her global TED Talk. Against a minimalist stage, just a single armchair, and a backdrop of shimmering blue lights like ocean waves, she smiled and spoke in a balanced, warm voice. The ocean was once the home of my childhood dreams. It taught me that, no matter how fierce the waves may crash, you can still fall, but what matters is your choice to rise again, to brush the sand from your shoulders, and to swim once more. Behind her, the projector displayed breathtaking footage. Coral gardens regrowing like living tapestries, fish darting freely through vibrant reefs, and fishermen's faces alight with renewed hope. Thunderous applause filled the auditorium, followed by waves of murmured awe, as if the ocean itself had stirred in the chests of thousands of viewers. Audiences were captivated not only by the record-breaking fundraising, but by the unwavering resolve and courage of a woman carrying life itself. In a final surprise, Mia revealed during her closing remarks that she was not only expecting one child, but twin-stwo little princesses like delicate waves eager to greet the world. "My daughter's two baby girls are the inspiration that keeps me fighting," she said, her eyes glistening with joy. The image of Mia placing her hand on her pregnant belly, her face radiant, became a symbol of life's resilience. Her simple yet profound words echoed widely. Each of us is but a grain of sand in the vast sea. Yet when we stand together, we form a steadfast shore that nurtures every wave of hope. In the wake of her TED Talk, volunteer registrations for the conservation campaign doubled. Universities launched online marine biology courses based on Mia's coral propagation methods. Major investors pledged further support for pilot projects from seaweed farming to microplastic remediation technology. From Monterey, a wave of positive change spread across the nation, reaching every coastline, every estuary, and even the most remote communities. And Mia, amidst the whirlwind of her leadership role, still kept her nightly ritual, walking to the beach, standing quietly before the ocean. She would rest a hand on her belly and whisper her wish for her little angels. "May you grow like ocean waves powerful. proud, and never subdued. Tears glimmered in her eyes, reflecting moonlight on the water's surface, a testament to the belief that, no matter life's pressures, women always have the right to rise and change the world. Monterey now stands not only renowned for its breathtaking shores but as a beacon of collective strength and individual courage. Mia Brooks's story has become a modern legend, reminding us all that hope never truly dies, and that each small action can ignite an eternal flame within the heart of the ocean, the heart of our planet. A full year had passed since the storm swept through Mia Brooks's life. At dawn, she stood on the shores of Monterey, the gentle sunrise gilding the stretch of sand before her, as she clasped her two little angels, Lily and Lunato, her chest. The tiny princesses blinked in wonder at the new day's light, their soft curls dancing in the salty breeze. Farther out, where the sun crested the horizon, otters frolicked in the shimmering waves, as though welcoming a fresh chapter for their ocean home. Daniel Carterance, her faltering pillar now, stood at a respectful distance, humble in his volunteer uniform shirt. He loaded mesh bags into a rescue truck, carefully cradling baskets of juvenile coral destined for replanting. His eyes held a flicker of sorrow as he watched Mia and their daughters, yet he did not approach. She had chosen her own path, not to return to him, but to extend forgiveness so their little family might find peace. Mia felt the warmth of her girls radiate through each heartbeat, two beacons guiding her across life's vast sea. She offered Daniel a slight quiet nod of gratitude for his atonement and tireless effort. In her heart, the old love had faded, but a mother's compassion for her children's father remained steadfast, like a limestone cliff weathering a tempest. Right there on the sands where two tides meet, Mia officially inaugurated her nonprofit, From Broken Waves. It would be a haven for women shattered by violence, betrayal, or trauma. Beneath a banner bearing the motto, "From broken waves, we build a new ocean," they would find hope and the strength to rise. Lily and Luna sat upon a hand-woven blanket in tiny floral dresses, small yet emblematic of new beginnings. Two lives born from the toughest trials. The ceremony was dignified yet warm. Applause from professors and fishing folk alike, harmonizing with the sound of lapping waves. Mia ascended the podium, her voice chiming like wind bells in the morning sun. Each of us, though once shattered by life's fiercest storms, can piece together those fragments to build a new ocean strong, compassionate, and brimming with hope. All eyes turned to Lily and Luna, like two small waves bearing a message. No matter how fierce the tests, new life can always take root. Guests were invited to join workshops on emotional resilience, to access legal counsel, and to connect with job opportunities so that when they stepped back into the world, they would not merely survive, but lead with inspiration. When the ceremony drew to a close, Mia hoisted her daughters onto her shoulders, their gazes fixed on the boundless sea ahead. Otters continued their playful dance in the crystal waters, as if nodding in agreement with the pledge to protect nature that she and her community upheld. Mia raised her camera to capture this moment, preserving the message that hope is ever present. If Mia's story has touched your heart, please share to spread Monterey hope far and wide. Together, we can not only save the ocean, but also rescue ourselves and the little hearts awaiting a new beginning. Mia Brooks's journey stands as proof that, even after betrayal, you can rise like a powerful wave. What have you ever fought for that means the most? Share in the comments and subscribe so you won't miss the next inspiring story. Together, we build an ocean of hope and save ourselves in the process.